In World War II, millions of families faced a terrifying reality. Their husbands and sons were overseas fighting. The streets were pitch black every night. Police were understaffed and overwhelmed, and criminals knew it. Looting became epidemic. Burglaries skyrocketed. Women and elderly were targeted in the darkness. Between 1939 and 1945, crime in Britain exploded by 57%. In just 4 months of the Blitz, over 4,500 looting cases were recorded. When the Café de Paris nightclub was bombed in 1941, rescuers had to fight through looters who were ripping jewelry from the bodies of the dead. The police couldn't help. Most officers had been drafted into military service. The ones who remained were stretched impossibly thin, dealing with air raids, bomb damage, and civil emergencies. Ordinary families were completely alone. But some families refused to be victims. They built defense systems from household scraps. Systems so clever that intruders never made it through the front door. These weren't military tactics. Soldiers never learned these methods. These were invented by housewives, grandmothers, and teenagers who had no choice but to protect themselves. And here's what's remarkable. These forgotten tricks still work today. They cost almost nothing. They require no electricity. And they outperform most modern security systems. Let me show you exactly what they did. Number 1, visual decoys. The first method was pure psychological warfare, visual decoys, making your home look occupied when you weren't there. During World War II, criminals quickly learned to identify empty homes. Evacuated houses were prime targets. Homes where men had gone to war were easy pickings. Any sign that a house was unoccupied was an invitation, so families learned to fake occupancy. They left radios playing near windows, not loudly, but just enough that someone passing by could hear voices inside. They put lights on simple timers, switching rooms throughout the evening to simulate movement. They positioned furniture near windows where shadows would be visible from outside. A coat hung on a chair, a hat on a hook. Anything that created the silhouette of a person. Some families went further. They arranged meals on tables visible through windows, as if someone had just stepped away. They left shoes by the door. They hung washing on the line even when they were gone for days. The goal was simple. Make criminals believe someone was home. Make them choose an easier target. This works because burglars are fundamentally risk-averse. They want quick, easy scores. Any sign of occupancy dramatically increases their risk. Most will simply move on to the next house. Modern application is identical. When you travel, make your home look lived in. Use smart plugs to control lights remotely. Leave a radio or television on a timer. Ask neighbors to park in your driveway occasionally. Move your curtains slightly each day. The psychological principle hasn't changed in 80 years. Criminals avoid risk. Give them any reason to believe someone is home, and they will find another target. Number 2, psychological deterrence. The second method went beyond visual decoys into active psychological deterrence. During World War II, families learned that perception was often more powerful than reality. They placed signs on gates and doors, warnings about dogs that didn't exist, notices about neighborhood watch patrols, anything that suggested the home was protected. Some families displayed items near windows that implied danger. An old military helmet visible on a shelf. A walking stick that could pass for a weapon. Work boots by the door, suggesting a man was home. Others used sound. They recorded dog barks and played them when someone approached. They kept actual dogs visible in windows, even small ones, because any dog suggests alertness and noise. The logic was simple. Criminals make split-second decisions based on perceived risk. They don't investigate. They don't verify. They see a sign that says, "Beware of dog," and they believe it. They see boots by the door and assume a man is home. The families who survived the blackout crime waves understood this perfectly. They didn't need actual protection. They needed the appearance of protection. Modern studies confirm this psychology. Research shows that homes with visible security signs, even without actual systems, experience significantly fewer break-in attempts. Criminals assume the sign means real protection. They don't test it. Today, you can apply this exact principle. Put up security company signs even without service. Display "Beware of dog" signs even without a dog. Place large work boots by your front door. Keep a leash visible near your entrance. These cost almost nothing, but they leverage the same criminal psychology that World War II families exploited 80 years ago. Number 3, the Morrison shelter as safe room. The third method turned a bomb shelter into a home defense fortress. The Morrison shelter. In 1941, the British government introduced an indoor shelter designed to protect families from bombing raids. It was essentially a steel cage. About 6 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 2.5 feet high. Families assembled it in their homes, usually in the living room or kitchen. It doubled as a table during the day. But families quickly discovered the Morrison shelter served another purpose. It was an almost impenetrable safe room. The shelter was constructed from heavy steel, mesh, and plate. It could withstand the collapse of an entire house. And it could certainly withstand any intruder. When families heard suspicious sounds at night, they didn't confront the threat. They retreated to the Morrison shelter with their children, locked the cage door from inside, and waited. Even if intruders broke into the house, they couldn't reach the family. The shelter bought time for neighbors to hear commotion, time for air raid wardens to investigate, time for the intruder to realize the situation wasn't worth the risk and flee. This is the same principle behind modern panic rooms, but World War II families had them decades earlier. You don't need a Morrison shelter today, but you should have a designated safe room. Pick the most secure room in your house, usually a bedroom with a solid door. Reinforce the door frame. Install a quality deadbolt that locks from inside. Keep a phone in that room. Keep a flashlight. If you hear intruders, don't confront them. Retreat to your safe room, lock the door, and call for help. The families who survived World War II understood this. The goal isn't to fight intruders. The goal is to create a barrier between you and them while you wait for help or for them to leave. Number 4, light discipline. The fourth method was originally about surviving air raids, but it became a powerful home defense tool. Light discipline. During World War II, blackout regulations were absolute. No light could escape from any home after dark. German bombers navigated by light. A single, uncovered window could guide enemy aircraft to your city. Every window was covered with heavy blackout material. Every door was sealed against light leaks. Families lived in complete darkness or with carefully shielded interior lighting. But families discovered something important. Light discipline wasn't just about enemy bombers. It was about criminals, too. When your home leaks light, anyone outside can see inside. They can see your layout. They can see where you are. They can see what you own. They can see when you go to bed. A blacked out home revealed nothing. Criminals couldn't tell if anyone was home. They couldn't tell where people were inside. They couldn't identify valuable items. They couldn't plan entry points based on room layouts. This uncertainty made every blacked out home a risk. Criminals avoided what they couldn't assess. Modern homes do the opposite. We light them like display cases. Floor-to-ceiling windows with no curtains. Bright interior lights visible from the street. Essentially, advertising our possessions and habits to anyone watching. The World War II lesson is simple. Control what people can see from outside your home. Use curtains or blinds on every window, especially at night. Position valuable items away from windows. Don't let observers map your home's interior. Don't let them watch your routines. Light discipline doesn't mean living in darkness. It means controlling information. The less criminals know about your home's interior, the less confident they'll be about targeting you. Number 5, community signal systems. The fifth method leveraged something more powerful than any individual defense: community. During World War II, neighborhoods developed signal systems to alert each other to danger. Whistles, bells, specific knock patterns, even coded shouts. If one family detected an intruder, they could alert the entire street within seconds. Criminals suddenly faced not one household, but dozens of potential witnesses and responders. This was formalized through the air raid precaution system. Wardens patrolled neighborhoods with whistles. Specific whistle patterns meant specific alerts. One long blast might signal an air raid. 3 short blasts might signal a fire. A continuous warbling might signal suspicious activity. Neighbors learned these signals. When they heard an alert, they knew exactly what it meant and how to respond. Some would emerge to help. Others would watch from windows. Others would contact authorities. The effect on criminals was devastating. They could no longer operate in isolation. A crime against one home immediately became a crime against the entire neighborhood. Modern neighborhoods have lost this completely. We don't know our neighbors' names. We certainly don't have shared signal systems, but you can rebuild this World War II advantage. Start with simple steps. Exchange phone numbers with immediate neighbors. Create a group text or messaging chat. Agree on simple signals. 3 rapid car horn honks means emergency. Specific porch light patterns mean different things. When seconds matter, you need communication that's faster than dialing a phone and waiting for police dispatch. A neighbor 30 feet away can respond in seconds. Police might take minutes or longer. World War II families survived because they transformed individual homes into defended communities. That principle remains the most effective home security strategy ever developed. Number 6, blackout curtains for dual purpose. The 6th method turned a wartime necessity into a security advantage: blackout curtains. But not just for blocking light. During World War II, every British home had heavy blackout curtains. They were mandatory, usually made from thick, dark fabric, sometimes multiple layers. They had to block every trace of light from escaping. But families discovered these curtains served dual security purposes. First, they provided complete visual privacy. When blackout curtains were closed, no one could see inside. Not light, not shadows, not movement. Complete concealment. Second, they muffled sound. The heavy fabric absorbed noise from inside the home. Conversations, radio sounds, crying children, all dampened significantly. Criminals couldn't gather intelligence by listening. Third, they provided an unexpected physical barrier. The heavy fabric made it harder to quickly break through a window. An intruder smashing glass would immediately encounter heavy, tangled fabric. Precious seconds lost. Precious noise created. Some families reinforced this. They hung multiple layers. They weighted the bottom hems. They attached the curtains firmly to the window frames, rather than just hanging them loosely. Modern blinds and thin curtains offer none of these advantages. They're decorative, not functional. Consider installing proper blackout curtains on ground floor windows, and any windows accessible from outside. Choose heavy, dense fabric. Mount them securely. Close them completely at night. This single change provides visual security, audio security, and a physical barrier, all from something that looks like ordinary home decoration. The families who survived World War II blackouts understood that every element of their home could serve multiple security purposes. Curtains weren't just for privacy, they were a defense system. Number 7, neighborhood watch patrols. The 7th method formalized community defense into organized patrols. The original neighborhood watch. During World War II, the Air Raid Wardens Service put trained civilians on every street in Britain. By 1943, there were over 1 million wardens. Their primary job was monitoring for air raids and enforcing blackout regulations. But they did much more. Wardens patrolled constantly. They knew every family on their assigned streets. They knew who should be home and who shouldn't. They noticed strangers. They noticed suspicious behavior. They noticed broken windows and damaged doors. This constant human surveillance made criminal activity extremely difficult. Looters couldn't operate freely when someone was always watching. Burglars couldn't stake out homes when wardens knew every resident by sight. When wardens spotted trouble, they had authority to intervene. They carried whistles to summon help. They reported to local police stations. They coordinated with neighbors. Crime statistics from the war show that neighborhoods with active wardens experience significantly less criminal activity than those without. Modern neighborhood watch programs are based directly on this World War II model. But most modern programs are passive, just signs and occasional meetings. The wartime model was active, regular patrols, constant communication, known faces on the street at all hours. You can implement this today. Coordinate with neighbors to take evening walks at different times. Create a rotation so someone is always visible on the street during vulnerable hours. Share observations through group messages. Active surveillance doesn't require uniforms or authority. It just requires presence. Criminals avoid streets where people are always watching. World War II proved this conclusively. Number 8. Guard dogs. The 8th method used humanity's oldest security technology, dogs. During World War II, the Dogs for Defense program mobilized over 20,000 dogs for military service. They guarded posts, detected enemies, and protected soldiers. But on the home front, family dogs became essential security assets. A dog provides multiple layers of defense. First, early warning. Dogs hear sounds humans miss. They detect approaching strangers before anyone reaches your door. A barking dog alerts the household immediately. Second, deterrence. Criminals hate dogs. Any dog, even small dogs, create noise and unpredictability. Larger dogs create genuine physical threat. Studies consistently show that homes with dogs experience far fewer break-in attempts. Third, psychological support. During the terrifying nights of the Blitz, dogs provided comfort to families, huddled in shelters and darkened homes. That emotional benefit shouldn't be underestimated. World War II families who kept dogs reported feeling dramatically more secure than those who didn't. The dog was always alert, even when humans slept. The dog would raise alarm at any unusual sound or presence. Some families without dogs improvised. They played recordings of dog barks. They kept dog bowls and leashes visible outside. They posted "Beware of dog" signs regardless of whether they owned one. Modern home defense experts consistently rank dogs among the most effective security measures available. Not because they'll attack intruders, most won't, but because they provide early warning and deterrence. If you can own a dog, do so. If you can't, create the impression of one. Dog bowls by the door. A leash hanging near the entrance. Signs on the gate. The principle hasn't changed since World War II. Dogs make criminals nervous. Nervous criminals choose different targets. Number 9, hidden compartments and valuables concealment. The 9th and final method accepted a hard truth. Sometimes intruders get in anyway. When they do, the goal is to ensure they find nothing worth taking. During World War II, families became masters of concealment. Valuables weren't kept in obvious locations. They were hidden throughout the home in places no intruder would think to look. Common hiding spots included hollow books on shelves, false bottoms in drawers, loose floorboards with concealed cavities beneath, fake electrical outlets that were actually small safes, containers buried in gardens. Families distributed valuables across multiple hiding spots. Even if an intruder found one cache, they wouldn't find everything. The psychological effect was powerful. After searching extensively and finding little, most intruders concluded the home had nothing worth taking and left. Some families created decoy valuables, a small amount of cash left in an obvious location, cheap jewelry in a visible box. The intruder would find these quickly, assume they'd gotten the goods, and leave without conducting a thorough search. This approach recognized reality. Locks can be broken, doors can be forced, windows can be smashed. If someone truly wants inside your home, they'll get inside. The question is what they find when they do. Modern application is straightforward. Don't keep valuables in obvious locations. Master bedroom drawers and closets are the first places intruders search. Same with home offices and living room cabinets. These 9 methods kept families alive during the most dangerous years of the 20th century. Visual decoys, psychological deterrence, safe rooms, light discipline, community signal systems, blackout curtains, neighborhood watch patrols, guard dogs, and hidden compartments. None of them required electricity. None of them required expensive equipment. None of them required military training. They were invented by ordinary people, housewives, grandmothers, teenagers, people who had no choice but to protect themselves when no one else would. And here's what matters. Every single one of these methods still works today. Modern security systems fail when the power goes out. They fail when internet connections drop. They fail when batteries die. They fail when criminals simply move faster than response times allow. World War II methods fail only when you fail to implement them. The families who survived the blackouts, the looting, and the chaos didn't survive by accident. They survived because they understood something fundamental about security. It's not about technology. It's about psychology. Understanding how criminals think, exploiting their fear of risk, making your home the hardest target on the street. Do what they did. Apply these 9 methods, and your home becomes a fortress that even modern burglars can't crack. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and never forget what ordinary families already proved. The best security doesn't come from gadgets. It comes from thinking like your enemy.